Good evening, everyone. I am Rita Bacuzzi. I am also known as Mama Rita Money, and I am coming to you tonight to have some breakthrough the taboo talks. And I want to say welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm super excited to have you and hope you enjoy the discussion this evening. And it really is a discussion around money. Money. Now, some people say taboo talk around money. Not so much. Well, because it's not even talked about. Really, sex, politics, religion, those topics, which are also taboo topics, seem to be more talked about in mainstream media and in life every day than the money talk. Well, what is the money talk? We actually are talking about money if you think about it every day. We talk about how we spend it, what's it's being spent on, who's spending too much of it. We're really focusing on so much of the negative aspects of it, as opposed to what are the potentials of it. We have the drama, the market's going up, the market's going down. It's almost like this addiction to the drama around money, or otherwise absolute silence around it. And when we aren't talking about it, how can we make it flourish and grow and elevate everyone around it? So tonight I wanted to talk about a little bit about that area because it's near and dear to my heart and part of my everyday life. And I have this vision and reality that money, once we break through the taboo talk around it, the money mastery, right? That means us getting to rule it, lead it, master it, have choices with it, versus it directing our focus. I don't have enough, and that enough word is super powerful, because it seems no matter who I talk to, whether they have been homeless or they have multi-millions, this do not have enough seems to be a big component. And when it comes to statistics around money, really 39% of people cohabitating together, they don't even know what their other partner is making in income. That's because they're not discussing it. And when we have our money talks, we have two different total perspectives on it. You have one person that came from one family, maybe that was savers, and then you have another person that said, live for the day, and they just spent. And so you have two different philosophies and mindsets around money. And when they come together in a relationship, sometimes they collide because there is an open conversation around it. A lot of people believe that really, it's just not something that needs to be discussed. But let's look at our world today. Let's look at particularly the US, because that's where I'm from and that's where we're living. And I believe a lot of nations and people look to us as role models and examples. And if you think about that model behavior, and you're talking about parents, right, that are arguing about money, are telling you, it's not part of your story or business to participate in the conversation. What does that do to us and our value around money? And 17% of families that are over six-figure income earners talk to their kids about income and money. So one of the issues of breaking through this taboo is getting into the conversations so that this way they can flow freely. We can create freedom. We're not having this resource, because that's all it is. And it's our relationship with this resource direct the focus that we have around our money issues. Because we all know, and I think most of us know, that when there are problems that arise in our life, we really need to address them. We need to come full face on. If we're running away in fear of what somebody else is thinking or judging, we're never going to get anywhere. And that's kind of what's been happening, is people have been kind of stepping aside. As some of my clients and people who have attended conferences with me say they live in silent shame. They live in blame. And that's not an area or space where we want to stay, because we really can't grow for it. We're not feeding ourselves in that aspect of growing our money. So anytime there's a problem, I know that growing up, we had to talk about it. I'm going to say, well, I had to talk about it, but I didn't always have ears that I felt would be willing to hear. And that is a trait that's being passed on generationally. So if we can't have somebody listen to us or share their expression around it, one, we can't even learn from them and their issues of how to work around it. We don't get to step up into our own powers that be, and we aren't able to flourish and grow together. And if we're not growing, then we're dying. And that's why we're seeing also a dying economy to some aspect, to some point. And so we're going to take a look at tonight about this discussion of money. Is it the numbers, right? Hi, Mia. So, Deb, thank you. The 2 households, or sometimes 4, that is super awesome, that bring ideas about money that come together. And a lot of it can be chatter of arguments in one message. And so I'm so glad that you're going to be bringing that message up, because it is something that really to be recognized by all of us. So thank you for sharing that, Mia. So is it the numbers? You know, I hear a lot of times, specifically women will say, I'm not good at math. And I have a little bit of a sarcastic side to me. And I always think of when we go to a BOGO, right? A BOGO, we do the math like that. It comes out of our head. It pops into our minds. We know the price of something if we're getting a great deal. Now, when we're talking about getting a great deal, we don't actually feel like we're diminishing that we're buying something at a better cost. We're not placing a value on ourselves. We're placing a value on our skill set. And that's really what we should be looking at, is our mastery of our skills. And that's a good starting point of money. And some of us are probably further along than we realize. And if we're not, then that makes us to have the potential of being the smartest person in the room, because we get to raise our financial intelligence. And our financial intelligence really is one pillar of 5 where we get to level up our learning. We get to grow, and we have the most room to grow bigger, better, and supersede our expectations. All we have to do is show up, and we get to embrace learning about money skills, building our relationship with money, so that this way we can create these mind shifts over money, and we can really put together where we're mastering the direction and the focus of that money. How many of us plan our travel? We hear this all the time. We plan our travel, but we don't plan our money. And if we don't have a plan, then we could potentially fail. Sometimes we can fly by the seat of our pants and succeed, but not always. I liken it to like the experience of you're traveling, you've planned everything, you packed everything you needed in your luggage, you prepared, you paid for your trip, you have extra money to spend, and you have all your vital essentials that you need in your luggage. You get to your destination. You're happy, you're excited, you're arrived, you're in the baggage claim department, or you've heard of this with friends. They're waiting. It's that expectation for that baggage that you prepared, those resources that you were going to tap into when you got to your destination. And all of a sudden you find out your bag is not there. It has not arrived. You arrived to the destination, but your resources have not. And right now, in our current economy, in our current state, especially for the majority of our boomers, that is the scenario that has happened. And nobody's talking about the obvious points of, wow, I planned, I put all my resources in the luggage, I got to my destination, and my luggage didn't show up. My resource didn't show up. Are we asking why? What happened? If we listened to our financial professionals and we did what we were supposed to do and it didn't happen, what happened? And we look back at what's gone on in the past. We look back at years like 2001 and 2008, and I could go even further and date myself and say 1987. And the reality is that life happens. Unexpected things happen, just like that luggage not arriving. And sometimes it's about coming back. Yes, we can come back. We can always come back. I believe in true grit and resilience and showing up your very best. If there's nothing else, even if you are not a football fan, basketball fan, or sports fan at all, we can learn lessons from sports professionals in that they consistently show up. They persistently show up. They resiliently show up. I call that CPR, right? Consistency, persistency, and resiliency. Well, I believe that as long as we start at a starting point where we get to show up for the practice of having real, meaningful money conversations in a point of neutrality, not placing value, your self-worth on a number, a dollar number. So you're not quantifying your quality. Your quality just is. However you show up in life is what it is. Are you being a great human being? Are you showing up as a fabulous person, bringing value to you, first of all, to your family, to your community, to your home? Where does it start? It starts within us. It starts with all these words that we tell ourselves. And if we're not talking and we're shutting it out, then we are allowing the choices to be made for us. And are we voicing those choices after the fact? Because we don't want to have the discussion. We don't want to talk about money because somebody might ask you. And I say, so what? So what? When you talk to millionaires and billionaires, as I have over the years, multiple, some of them, and we know famous ones that have lived in their vans, lived homeless, lived in cars. We even know about movie stars that have done that. But they kept showing up. They kept on practicing. And we get to practice having our talks to stop the taboo around the discussion of money. So depending on where you were, because when I poll women that come to my events and attendees at my sessions, I find that there are about 70% of them really only have had negative money experiences, right? And what was it? Why has it been the taboo talk been created? Well, money's the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. The I can't afford this. I'm not worthy of it. I'm not enough. I have shame. I have blame. And we could throw out any numbers of words that will stop us from having a discussion of seeing where we're at so that we can then direct our focus and lead ourselves and lead our money in the direction that we want to go. So we have the issue of money. We may have a relationship. It may not be enough. And that maybe we're taking that step. We're having some discussions. Maybe we're exploring. Those of you listening in today, hearing, seeing to gauge maybe some nugget, some piece of inspiration that Mia shared earlier about, okay, we have all these perspectives, all these discussions. Maybe we're wanting to spare other people's feelings. Have you ever experienced something great Maybe it was a class, maybe, I don't know, it was an opera, it was some experiential thing that you did and you wanted to share it with somebody, but you didn't tell them because you wanted to spare the feelings because you thought they might not be able to afford it. And you've made a judgment. You've made a decision for them. If we could just take a step back and make it neutral of, I'm focusing on the experience that I want to share. I'm going to open up with a complete open heart to share your vision, your heart, your wisdom, and trust that the process will work itself through. Then you're sharing the experience. The other thing that really has us hold back in our talking around money is uncertainty. And actually, what's been really interesting is this era of uncertainty right now, instability, has actually brought us together and bonded us. We know that in this era of COVID, people have been experiencing strife and difficulties, just like people who go through cancer, divorce, right? Now it's okay for people to be struggling because they have a life event to connect it to. But the reality is that they're still the same people, and they've always been the same people. So if we can just focus on keeping the value of who we are as humans, which is priceless, and then get beyond and share and expose your values of what your gifts are, it doesn't matter what the number is. Doesn't matter if your income is at poverty level. It doesn't matter if you're the janitor at the school or in the airport restroom. It doesn't matter, because when we think of teachers, this is a prime example. The values of teachers is priceless. They can never be paid what they're worth for what they share, for starting out our lives, usually in the best fashion ever, to elevate us, to raise our intelligence. Well, we get to be our own teachers. We're waiting for schools to teach around money, and in reality, we can be self-taught. And we have the resources. We have books, we have workshops in today's current world. We have things like meetups, and we can just get together, explore. So I like using a 5E system when I look at this, of how I break through the taboos of not moving forward, being curious and seeking out and learning about it. And that might be, hey, I'm not ready to take a step right now. Let me read some books. That's how I started out. I checked them out at the library, started reading, listening to audio tapes. Now we have YouTube. So there's a lot of money. There's podcasts, all sorts of workshops. So go with the perspective that you're going to expand that level of knowledge. When you don't know, it's as simple as saying, I haven't had this experience yet. Because each one of us has different experiences. Again, this is a way to break through taboos. What you don't know, I don't know everything. I've been in finance for years. I have clients that ask me questions that make me think of things in different perspectives, and I get to raise to another level. But I can only do that if I do this next D, which is engage. I connect with them. I connect with the story. I take a step, I take action, and I learn. These are steps to break through taboos. And you get to shift, right? Once you elevate to a certain level, you're not done. Because really, when you speak to wealth intelligence experts, they are always sharing how they're lifelong learners, how they keep on growing, they keep on learning, because every day brings a new experience. So you just have to be open to that, what I call elevating, that shift, that engagement, that next embrace of, hey, I'm going to level up. I get to start over again. It's almost like being a fresh new baby, whole new era of questions. I liken it to when I got to go into a networking group of financial professionals that had been in the industry far more many years than me. What were the feelings that I was feeling? Oh my gosh, I'm going to embarrass myself. Oh, I hope I don't say anything stupid. Oh my gosh, they're going to know. It doesn't matter. You know what you'll be surprised to find out? The right people will say to you, wow, kudos, good job. You showed up to learn more. And I find that the more that I elevate and go up and surround myself with like minded people, the more they're willing to help me get higher and higher. Because the reality is, when we hear, rich people are greedy or they're selfish or they're self centered, really my reality and experience, while there are those people in the world and we can focus on that, but that's what creates the taboo. Shift it, focus on people who are willing to show up. Find those right audiences that they're willing to have the discussions. You got to keep on being consistent, persistent, and resilient, especially in times where you're feeling fearful. So some of the statements I said, well, they're smarter than me. They know more than me. Well, no, they know more in some areas, but not all. And I talk about fear being a false evidence appearing real. And that's what a taboo is. A taboo is a false evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's something that we've created. So we get to shift it. We get to change it, right? If we want to live a life of excitement, enjoyment, exuberance, right? Having fun, elevating to that next level, really all we need to do is show up, embrace it, create the shift for ourselves. Watch other role models. Who are the role models for what you want to learn around money? It's really super simple. It really is super simple. Don't let it get tied up in moral dilemmas or problems that other people are bringing about. When they do, say to yourself, how can I look at this from a neutral perspective? Not a point of judgment. There's too much, there's too little. How can I, like I said, the deal. We get the deal. The deal doesn't diminish the value of what you got. What you got is you got this beautiful red, I don't know, I'm just going to say a Michael Kors purse, a Versace purse, or for guys, a new phone, whatever it is that you're placing a value of. If it was selling for $2,000 and you paid $1,000, the value of that instrument is still the same, and it still works that way for us too. Many people are entrepreneurs nowadays. They're selling their programs. And I was positioned with, okay, I'm going to sell my program. And when I share my program, by the way, sharing and selling, when it's neutral, it's the same. Because sharing your gifts is actually a point of love. So it passes neutrality and it actually elevates even higher. I was positioned with, I said I'm going to give half. If someone refers someone to me, I'm going to give them half. And someone said, be careful. You might be diminishing the value of what you're giving. And I thought about it and I said, no, I'm elevating the value what I'm giving, and I'm showing and sharing in a reciprocal nature to the other person the value of what they just brought that person to. And we get to share collectively in that elevated value. Really different perspective. What matters most is the choices. That's what's most important. We want financial freedom. We want to stop worrying about outliving our money. Worry, another area around taboo. That's what creates why the taboo is even there. I'm never going to make enough money. Oh my God, my money is going to outlive me. Sometimes that means at the end of the month. I'll never be able to retire. These words are the words of taboo. To break through them, you need to stop them. You need to replace them. Like the word trying. The word trying. I'm trying to close my fist. I'm trying, or I am closing my fist. I am claiming that I am the creator of what I get to do. That's how you break through the taboo. When we talk about these choices lead to financial freedom or financial strife, a joyous relationship with money, a victim of money, and health, our financial health, true indicator for our physical health a lot of times, and vice versa. If you want to gain perspective around money, ask someone who built a hospital or school how it felt to do that. Super amazing, right? Wouldn't you like to do something like that? To give back into the world in that way? Ask employers who have employees that feel financial security, right? The era of financial security when our employers took care of us, which seems to have vanished. Because now we're not sure. And now we're tied to products that are tied to a market that goes up and down, and there's drama all around it every day. Are there alternative choices? Yes, there are. You have to explore them. You can check out Mama Rita Money for that one. Ask a married couple what's the one thing they argue about. Over 60% of divorces and relationships are breaking up because of that. And we can cut that in half if we break through the taboo. Ask a patient who's been diagnosed with cancer. And then the day before their physical treatment, little slip, right? They receive this large sum of money deposited into their account. Do you think they're going into that treatment a little more empowered, a little bit stronger, yet they're going through the same treatment versus someone who's, oh my God, I got to sell my house, liquidate my retirement? We can shift all this. We can shift all this together through those 5 E's that I explained. We can create 5 financial pillars to strengthen us through those 5 E's so that we can be financially strong and break through the taboo talk, because that's what it's all about. Support one another, elevate one another, become masters of our money mission, become masters of our prosperity plans, become money skills masters, because it's just simple math. We get to keep it simple like kids. We actually get to go back. We get to learn the love languages around money and break through these taboos. One step, one day at a time. I want to end with, in that process and in my commitment to you, I want to bring speakers. I'm going to be bringing a speaker because there's another taboo topic of being hypnotized, which is something that we're doing every day of our lives. For you that are watching this program, you're choosing to be hypnotized into a better life. For a lot of us, when we're watching our phones, our computers, our TVs, are we being indoctrinated with somebody else's thoughts and beliefs and being hypnotized into a society that's being dragged down? Or are we going to step into ownership and being responsible for us, right? After all, the flight attendant says, put the oxygen mask on you first. And that's what you get to do when you break through the taboo talk. So we're going to have a series coming up with Michelle Molitor, and we're going to talk about hypnotizing ourselves into succeeding. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome and how do we break through the taboo talk around that. And so those are a few of the topics that are going to be coming up in our series every Tuesday, 5 p.m. right here, just like you did for 30 minutes. So I want to say thank you for showing up. I look forward to seeing you. If you want to find out more or connect with me, check out mamaridamoney.com and break through the taboo talk. One day, one moment at a time, so that we can educate society to be an elevated society, so that we can have dreams that were supersede our impossible, unlimited, unstoppable dreams. Thank you, and have a great evening. Ciao for now.